to the entertainment Talking Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some very telling quotes that came out of the mouth of the owner of the New York Giants. And no, not the owner that you're thinking of. John Mara is usually the one that represents the team and is more outspoken. But Steve Tisch had some very interesting quotes today about the future, potentially, of some of the members of this organization, whether it be Dave Gettleman, whether it be Pat Shurmur, whether it be anybody. Everybody could be up, on the firing block right now. Certainly, James Bettcher, I think it will be on his way out. But needless to say, before we get into the quotes, he is not happy. Now, of course, I did a video about 2 hours ago on the firing of Ron Rivera. And of course, from a New York Giants fan's perspective, the reason I did that video is because I'm assuming that there is a high probability that Shurmur will be fired. I've accepted that at this point. Now, I know that the New York Giants want stability. And if you look around the league right now, the best teams have stability for the most part. Sean Payton's been with the Saints since he left the Giants. He's been there forever. Bill Belichick's been with the Patriots forever. The Steelers, Tomlin has been there forever. The Seahawks, right? The best teams keep their coaches. Andy Reid with the Chiefs has been there for a while. So, and that's another thing I wanted to bring up real quick. A lot of people in my last video, Ron Rivera, said they want this young up-and-coming coach. They don't like old coaches. They don't like retreads. Okay, first thing I'm going to say is, what was Tom Coughlin? Tom Coughlin was an old coach, and he was a retread. He coached for the Jaguars, and he was a retread. And then, I get it. Like, that's the new up-and-coming thing, the young coach. Mike Tomlin was a young coach when the Steelers brought him in. McVay's a young coach. Shanahan's a young coach. I get it. Like, that's the new thing, right? Even in basketball, I remember the Knicks did it with Derek Fisher. So I get that that's what people want, but take a look around the league right now. Let's name the best teams in football. Sean Payton, Saints, no spring chicken. Kyle Shanahan is young for the 49ers. Bill Belichick, okay? Pete Carroll. These guys are old. Andy Reid, no spring chicken. I just named 4 of the arguably the top 5 teams in the sport. They don't have, young head coaches. So I just want a guy that's a good head coach. And it's not like Ron Rivera is ancient. He's 57 years old. But anyway, back to the video and back to what Steve Tisch said. I thought it was very interesting, and I think it's very telling when you read the quote. So here we go. Here is what Tisch said today to the media. It's been a very frustrating season, co-owner Steve Tisch told NBC New York on Tuesday at the March of Dimes luncheon. At the end of the season, John Mara and I are going to get together and discuss the future. As partners, we have to be very honest with each other about where we see this team going into the 2020 season. He then went on to say this. Those decisions, and this, of course, is talking about personnel changes with the New York Giants, whether it be Gettleman, whether, it be Shurmur. Those decisions and conversations are not going to be made this morning. Tisch said, it's really at the end of the season that John and I are going to sit down and talk about those issues. And then finally, I thought this was the most telling quote. I'm asking for patience, Tisch said, when asked what his message is for Giants fans. I'm being patient, which at times is challenging. Please be understanding and patient. I want Giants fans to feel that their voice is being heard. And that last sentence to me is very telling. I made a video about 2 or 3 weeks ago about the New York Giants fan base, and there was a poll conducted on whether or not New York Giants fans wanted Pat Shurmur to stay on as the head coach. 87% overwhelmingly voted to have him replaced. So, if you want the fans' voice to be heard, Mr. Tisch and Mr. Mara, and who knows if Mara shares the same sentiment that Tisch does, well, you're probably going to be looking for a new head coach, and you may be looking for a new GM. Things are brewing. I don't think Tisch would come out there and say those things publicly unless he, in his heart, was planning to at least have serious discussions about making major changes in the Giants front office. And you know what? This is the NFL. When you win 7 games in 2 years, these are the types of things that happen. Now, of course, Shurmur has 4 games to try to change their minds if they have already set, their minds up to potentially be looking to replace him. If he goes out there and wins 3 games, the team's competitive and they play well, maybe things change for Shurmur. Maybe the fans change a little bit. Maybe things change for Gettleman. Because at the end of the day, Gettleman should be held nearly just as responsible. Yes, I know that Shurmur's coaching the players, but Gettleman's the guy that constructed this roster. He's the guy that traded away players that, some of the moves are certainly questionable. So we'll have to wait and see what the Giants decide to do. We're going to find out very soon. There's only 4 weeks left in this season, and we all know what happens after the last week. There's a lot of coaching cuts, and Shurmur may very well be one of them. And if he is, we're going to be looking for another coach. And I'm not going to rule out Gettleman either. I think it's possible, not probable. If I had to guess, I say Shurmur and Betcher are gone, and Gettleman stays on. But Gettleman certainly could be facing the firing range as well. Just very telling stuff from the partial owner there in Steve Tisch. And when Steve Tisch talks, I listen because he doesn't talk a lot. Not that Mara does either, but Steve Tisch is not a very outspoken man. And the fact that he's coming out and saying these things, the way in which he said them, makes me think that prepare for major changes in Giants land in about a month. As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.